I'm delighted to be here. I am I think probably the least relevant person here, but the one who is made to look the best by this press conference. So we welcome you. This is an exciting day for us, particularly if you think back just a little bit. You have to realize we were not so many years ago 0-12, but with a terrific athletic director. Scott Woodward, as many of you know, helped develop a program that came back, built these extraordinary facilities, and prepared us in a way that I think allowed us to attract the extraordinary coach that we've been fortunate enough to attract here at the university today. And so I want to start with real congratulations to Scott, who I think has done just a remarkable job here for us in so many different ways. And I'm also delighted, since you have really only, as I say, no interest in hearing from me, to introduce our new coach. We are remarkably pleased with a coach who has a winning record that is, as you know, absolutely off the charts. No coach currently active in football holds a candle to his winning percentage. But as president of the university, I have to tell you what also makes me extraordinarily proud. He has the second best APR of all the teams in the FBS division, a 9.93, which means virtually every single one of his players is on track for graduation, something that matters enormously to the University of Washington, and has done it with integrity, has done it with remarkable grace. And I have to say how pleased I am to have him on my side of the field. Lost to him once at Utah, lost to him once here, and so I'm very anxious to have him on my side of the field as opposed to somebody else's side of the field. But we are absolutely thrilled to welcome into our community Chris Petersen and Barbara, who is also with us, and their two sons as well. So we're just so pleased to have you both here. And allow me to introduce our new coach, who I also have to tell you is the only coach who has ever won the Bear Bryant Coach of the Year award twice. And we know that will happen again while he's here at the University of Washington. Coach Petersen, welcome.
Well, thank you guys. And I need to start by saying how honored, humbled, excited I am to be here. There's no question about it. I want to thank President Young, Scott Woodward, Jennifer Cohen for making this process as smooth, as painless as possible. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Before I go further, I'd like to really introduce my wife again. There's no question, trust me on this, I would not be here, standing here before you today if it wasn't for her. So my wife, Barbara, thank you so much. My boys will be here soon. I got one down in California in college freshman taking his finals. The other one is in Boise getting ready for his finals, so they'll be over here soon. And anyways, I'd like to thank the people in Boise. You know, so much that place means so much to me, and our president over there, Bob Custra, has transformed that university. Mark Coyle's an unbelievable athletic director. Kurt Apsey's done tremendous things over there. The fans, the Bronco Nation over there, and all the players. I mean, that place is truly special. I don't want to go on too much more than that, or I probably wouldn't get through this press conference, but I appreciate those people so much. You know, when I grew up, I kind of grew up in the Don James era of football. I was a young player, high school player, and then through college and started my coaching career. And so I admired this place for so long and what it was all about. And then as my career went on, to come here and play in this place and compete against the Huskies was always such a tremendous challenge. A lot of respect and always a tough task. And you know, I'm so excited to be here on the other side of the field and you know, see what we can do. People keep asking me, you know, why now? You've been in Boise for so long. And you know, the two things that keep coming to mind is timing and fit. And it was just time. I think every place kind of has a shelf life. Sometimes that's very short, sometimes it's very long, and sometimes it's in between. And it was just time. We've done some really good things there, and I think, for me to take the next step as a coach, as a teacher, as a person, to grow, I needed to take that next step out of that comfort zone over there. And I think it'll be good for Boise as well. I think the fit is so important. I'm a Northwest guy. I've known this place forever. I'm so excited about the university. I'm excited about the conference. I think it's as good and as tough as a conference as there is out there. I think there's more parity in the Pac-12 now than I've ever seen, and I'm excited to compete in that conference. I'd like to thank all the people that, I can't thank all the people that helped me get me here, but I've had some tremendous mentors, starting with my college coaches, Jim Soker, Bob Foster, Bob Biggs, Paul Hackett, Tim Walsh, Mike Bellotti, Dan Hawkins, all the guys that may have influenced me as much as anybody is the assistant coaches that I've got to work with that either as an assistant or had been on my staff. I mean, those guys have been truly remarkable and has influenced me as much as maybe I've influenced them, and certainly the players. I mean, I'm standing here before you today because of the wonderful players that I've had an opportunity to coach and be around. I think we all know that. I mean, it's always about the players. Excited about this opportunity, this challenge. We're going to play smart, fast, physical, and unified football. There's no doubt about it. We're going to recruit just awesome kids here. We talk about taking young men and turning them into real men. I think there's such a misperception out there about what a real man is, and that's a passion of mine to really get some guys straight on what a real man looks like and what he does and how he plays and how he conducts himself. We talk about recruiting OKGs, our kind of guys that are great character kids, awesome football players, interested in a world-class degree, all those things that really fit. And I think one of the things that we've done so well at Boise is all these things that I'm talking about, we don't just talk about them, we be about them. And our players have bought into these concepts, bought into the culture, and it's made it special. And I can't wait to start implementing some of those things around here. I had a chance to meet with the team the other day. I was so fired up. I wanted to get after it right there with them. But we got time for that down the road. I think it's all about the process. I think everything matters. I think no detail is too small. I think we're always trying to shoot for perfection, and then hopefully at the end of the day, we kind of settle back into excellence. Everything we do is at a very high level, that we represent everybody in this room with tremendous integrity and class, not just our coaches, but our players as well. And really, at the end of the day, I cannot wait to win a game in this stadium with a little help. So anyways, with that being said, questions?
Chris, you've been linked to so many other high-profile jobs the last few years. I won't ask again about the timing, but can you speak more to why Washington?
So the question was timing and why Washington. I think I go back to just the timing of things, of feeling like I needed to take a step out of Boise to really grow and improve. I mean, this job, wherever you are, is so tremendously challenging. It wasn't about that. But it's very comfortable over there, very easy for me to be over there. And really, at the end of the day, didn't think it was best for me to be over there in terms of really becoming the person and the coach that I want to be. With that being said, I also think it's very important for Boise. I think it was a win-win because they'll get a fabulous coach in there that will give them a new shot of energy. And so I felt very good about that. I didn't want to leave Boise if I thought it would be bad for them, if they would take a step backwards. And so that's where I go back to this timing, I think it's really good for me and my family, and I think it's good for them as well.
Chris, can you talk a little bit about recruiting and just kind of how your recruiting philosophy needs to change, if at all, from Boise to Washington, and then the kind of caliber of athlete that you were going to be recruiting there versus here?
Yeah, we had some, there's always, everywhere you are, there's always issues. It's very competitive. There's always issues. I think the territory that we're in is exactly where Washington is. We'd be bumping up against them day in and day out. You know, I think it's wonderful to be able to recruit to the Pac-12. I think, you know, one of the things that's really important to me is when you take football out of the equation, because that's coming to an end sooner than later for all of us. We're all about helping these kids chase their dreams and aspirations of pro football without question. But we know that that card is played fast and it's over fast. Shoot, it could happen, you know, your first or second year with an injury. And so then you think about, well, okay, what do I got? Well, what you're going to have is an unbelievable world-class degree, and that's really, really important to me when I recruit kids to a university.
Chris, did you feel like you'd hit a ceiling maybe with what you could accomplish at Boise?
Question was, did I think I hit a ceiling with what we could accomplish at Boise? Not necessarily, because like I'm saying, it's so challenging, this job, and there's, you know, we're so competitive and there's always something to do. And I've never been one to really get hung up on the record, you know, who we're playing, what our schedule looks like. We just go out and do the best we can do with this process. And so it wasn't that. And I just go back to, I think at the end of the day, I would have had a hard time of, you know, probably looking at myself. And I think these are just feelings that you have. Sometimes it's hard to justify or rationalize why it is, but it was just a feeling that it was time. It was time for that next step and that next challenge and, you know, new horizons.
What were your impressions as an opposing coach in the first game of the stadium?
Let me tell you, that's one of the reasons I'm here. And I mean that. I mean, when you walked into this stadium, this beautiful environment, there's not a better one in college football. And then you pack it with these passionate people in purple, holy smokes. I mean, I was very, very irritated, to tell you the truth. But deep down, I really liked it, because that's what college football should be all about. And there's no question, and that's what I talk about, the fit. That's part of it. I want to be part of that. I think it's exciting. It gives everybody energy and enthusiasm to be part of it. I mean, this is college football at its finest.
Like this team the last couple of years, and you said it's big school, and then they get the game this year. What are your impressions of this team now that you see them? What are your impressions of the team? Where they're going?
Yeah, so what are my impressions of the team playing them the last couple of years? Very talented, you know, well coached. You know, I think Coach Sark and his crew have done a great job of building this thing back up. I mean, that's hard, tough work, and I get that as much as anybody. And those, you know, most of these coaches that are here, I know very well, so I know what type of coaches that they are. And, you know, well coached, tough, hard-nosed kids with a lot of talent.
Chris, can you talk at all about the future of some of the coaches here, including Justin Wilcox, Marshall Boy, and what your plans are, or what the plan is, I guess, for those guys?
Yeah, not yet. We're still working that out. I think, you know, in the next week or so, a lot of things are going to happen and play out, and so we don't have an exact plan. It'd be premature to talk about that.
And you decided to get out the coaches you're bringing from this year.
Well, we have a plan lined up, but it's not set in stone. And like I said, I think we let that play out, and it'll start to take shape.
You said you were ready to go kind of with the players. Do you plan to tag along to the bowl game or head out to practice as well?
You know, I certainly will be around for some of the practices. I don't want to be that dark shadow looming over them. These guys have done a great job this season, and I understand as well as anyone how tough it is on these kids, what they've been through the last week and a half to lose their coach. That is not easy. That's not fun for anybody. And so I want to be around here for help and support, but this is their team. They need to finish this season off right, and, you know, anything I can help them with. But I'm not here to coach this game. You know, when that's over, we'll jump in and we'll start to get after it. But, you know, I'm really hopeful they go out and play well, because again, with the circumstances that they're staring, that's not easy. It's not easy with the kids over in Boise, and it's not. And I feel bad for both sides, but we're out of our comfort zones. It's, you know, we talk about adversity or comfort zone. It's more probably out of your comfort zone than true adversity here. And I think these guys will be fine. They need to go down there and enjoy the process. They've earned it, and play with a smile on their face.
Chris, you had your greatest success perhaps with more of a drop-back quarterback and passing system in the pocket. You switched somewhat in terms of this last year with the hurry-up pistol. Can you tell us why you made that change and kind of where you stand now offensively with your philosophy?
Yeah, so our philosophy kind of always on offense, really runs through the quarterback. It always starts there. I mean, what is that guy's strengths and weaknesses? And, we had a young man over there named Kellen Moore that, I don't think he ever ran for more than 3 yards in his entire life, but he could play quarterback pretty good. So we'll play to hit that guy's strengths. I think, a mobile guy that can move around is always a tremendous problem for defenses. And so if we have those guys, we'll play to his strengths. I think at the end of the day, you want to be balanced. You want to be able to run the ball, however that is. I think that's one of the beauties of all these spread-type teams. The really good ones are very, very good at running the ball. You think about the pass game, but it's really to run the ball. And that's the best way to make a quarterback successful, is to be able to run the ball. Then the game starts to get a little bit easier for them. So we'll be, we'll play to our talent level, and it'll start with the quarterback, but it'll probably be some version of a spread.
Would you ideally recruit a mobile quarterback, or could you envision getting back to that more passing scheme, or do you not?
That's a great question, because that's a hard question. I mean, we need to recruit a great quarterback, always. And if he's mobile, that's definitely a bonus. But this guy's got to be a great decision maker and an accurate thrower, first and foremost. And then I think you build your list from there.
How hands-on will you be with certain players that are trying to decide whether to come back for one more year?
I'm certainly going to talk to them, but I'm not here to try to talk them out of, coming back or going. I mean, I would like to help them the best I can, help them figure that out. I mean, they'll have friends and families and advisors that have, already been much involved. And really, at the end of the day, what's the best for the kids? I mean, that's what it's going to come down to. Certainly, you'd love those great players to stay around for another year, but everybody's going to do what's best for them and their family at the end of the day.
Chris, you've obviously been very comfortable staying in one spot for a while. And Washington fans have asked, is this Chris Petersen's last stop on the coaching tree? As you stand here right now, nobody knows what the future will hold, obviously. Do you envision this as the final stop for you?
You know how hard it was for me to leave Boise? I know this. Life always changes. I didn't take this job to go anywhere else. I mean, that's not even something that has entered my mind ever. I mean, this is where I want to be. This is where my family wants to be. And so I certainly envision and really hope I can stay here a really long time.
If you have your list of things that you're focused on right now, if you're not really going to be coaching the bowl, what is it, recruiting? Is it scouting your own players? What is it right now?
Yeah, it's all those things. That's why it's kind of an unsettling time. There's so much going on right now. You're trying to get to know the players on the team here. Certainly recruiting is a premium. You can't really recruit like you'd like to until you get your staff. And so all those things are going on right now. And so we're in the process of lining them up. And like I said, in the next week and a half, I think things will shake down pretty good. The nice thing is we have another week and then it goes dead. We'll be dead period, and then we'll be able to, put the crew together and get our bearings and get a good plan and go forward.
Unstoppable on the blue turf, or you thinking purple turf?
Hey, I'm good for a change. That's why I came here. I like, we had some green in an indoor facility, so, this is always, to me, those type of things, I always get a kick out of it because they're always so much about the fans and the culture and what it's all about. When I first came to Boise, it was a blue turf. It was that old AstroTurf stuff. And so they were going to change it out to the new field turf. And so there was a big hubbub about, well, maybe it's time to go back to a green field. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably good. And so they ran a poll in the paper there, and it was 99% blue. And so that solved that forever.
How important is it to continue to recruit the Northwest? Some fans have kind of got worried that maybe some in-state guys will be more out of state. How important is it to you?
Absolutely. I mean, you want to keep the kids in state right here. I mean, that's where it starts without question. Now, there's a lot of good players in the Northwest, and it's going to be a competitive battle to be able to keep them here. But again, I look at this setup. I look what we have to offer, and I think we got a great shot to keep some of those great players right here.
Was there an aha moment during this week where all of a sudden it clicked into place and you done decided to do it?
Well, I think whenever those discussions started with Washington, and these things happen so fast, but I think when when the whole Washington thing started, I just kind of felt in my heart that if this was going to be right on their side, it'd be right on my side. And I think it comes down to, all big decisions, whether you're an 18-year-old recruit or an old 49-year-old coach, when you're making big decisions that are good choices on both sides, it comes down to just a gut feel in your heart and your stomach. And I just really feel that this is where I needed to be.
Can you evaluate your job you did at Boise? Where do you look back and say, we really nailed that? And where do you look back and say, we need to really improve that area here in Washington versus what we did at Boise?
The second part is hard for me to answer about what we need to improve right here, still figuring that out. I know this, the building job that was done here by Coach Sark and his staff was very good, because it's not easy to, where they started. I mean, that's hard work. It really is. And so, they're certainly on the right track. I think at Boise, we did such a good job of really establishing a philosophy that we wanted to live by. And it wasn't just words on paper. And our coaches did such a great job of really instilling these things in our young men. And then they bought into it. We can preach it all day, but if they're not going to be all in, it doesn't matter. And it was not just about football, it was really about life. And I think that's the thing that we probably did the best there.
Chris, if there's one thing that you could say attracted you most to Washington, or one asset, what would it be?
So the question was there one thing that attracted me here to Washington? I think that's the beauty of it. It wasn't one thing. It was many things. And, a bunch of little things added up to be, this is where I need to be, from some of the things that I already spoke about, from the university to the conference that we play in, to being in Seattle. All those things are really big, important things to me and my family. And couldn't be prouder to be standing here before you today.
Chris, you talked about the job Steve Sarkisian did and how hard that was. Would you have taken this job 5 years ago, coming off the 0-12 2008 season, or did the timing just now feel different than back then?
Yeah, that's a good question, and it's hard for me to answer because it's all about timing. And, I think every year at Boise, I was never thinking about leaving. I really wasn't. And so, but then things start to happen and change, not necessarily by anybody doing anything, just you as a person. I think it's so important. We talk about to our players all the time about getting out of your comfort zone, taking challenges, putting yourself at risk a little bit, and growing. And the only way that you can do that is, is to take on different things. And it's human nature to not want to get out of our comfort zone. But if we stay there all the time, if you're not growing, you're going backwards. And so here we are.
Coach, are you going to beat Oregon?
Beat Oregon. Beat Oregon. Do we have to start that already? We'll be swinging hard.
These coaches here with really limited access to the program.
Yeah.
Media, fans, with the new stadium,
Yeah.
spring ball, been pretty much closed off to the fans. How open is this program going to be?
So the question was how much access to the media and the fans for this program. Hey, we need to make sure the fans know what we're all about and be able to give them a taste of the Huskies without question, and certainly the media as well. And so I think there's a balance there so we can keep our kids and coaches focused on what we need to do without being tremendously distracted. And so I think there's always a balance there that, we'll work through as we head forward.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll get enough time for one-on-ones over there.
Thank you guys very much.